33% conversion rate from top 5.
So keep that in mind. We'll remind you if we see one of those teams in our top 5, how likely historically here in Riyadh they have been able to turn top 5s into wins. And if they do, then they will be champions. Let's also focus in on a couple of teams who are still trying to hit match point, as Wolves did in that previous game. You have the likes of Nemesis on 43 points, just 7 needed. Gen G with those 2 kills from Ziki. Oh, NIP fans are going to find him after the event. 4 points away. We are still having an opportunity for these teams to join the collective on match point.
Another impressive statistics is actually
We're both struggling with that.
That's your fault, I think. Is the teams on match point, their conversion rate of getting from top 10 to top 5, and the likes of Team Falcons, a 90% conversion rate. When they get to top 10, they will make it to that final circle. That shows how good they are. But this tournament, they just haven't been able to find that win.
VK Gaming. The floor is yours. However, what I will say with Humbert Labs, it gets very, very busy. VK Gaming on match point. But remember, what side of that wall will it be going?
Remember,
because we see balls either side.
They do have 2 wins so far on E-District in this tournament. It is their best map without a shadow of a doubt. This is going to be such a good opportunity, but you got to look at how close Team Nemesis are to them as well. Is there potential for an early fight, depending on who hits ring consoles here and actually gets that information? Because I can only see survey beacons for the 2 of them right now. But of course, it could be covered up by their names, as our previous winners, Wolves Esports, also in an early fight here.
Wow. Crazy Kong with some crazy shots. Throw it in the needle with the heavy ammo inserted into the 30-30 repeater.
And look, Wolves Esports, so they're making a rotation, trying to get to this ring console on their way down south. And if they do catch it quick enough before E36 catch them, they can continue to move to the southeast down to Humbert.
Yeah, interesting to see that ring console and survey beacon in the position they are, just slightly away from some of the main POIs that we do have here. Fnatic also very close. This could be very, very interesting here. A lot of teams going for this ring console, and if Wolves aren't aware, they jump on it without any cover. Fnatic might be going 3, 2, 1.
All aboard the jump tower there,
and be able to take him off. Is the timing that good for them?
Enemy over there.
They get the survey beacon. I think they'll see him by the time they've hit it.
Yeah, they'll know they're going to be there because of the survey beacon, but I think Wolves have already
away with
it. It's going to be in and out. It's a heist for the ring console. But Fnatic maybe have gained enough information purely from that survey beacon alone as they continue now to transition to the southeast here.
Well, that's how quickly a game can change on either side there. If Fnatic have a little peek at that ring console a few seconds earlier, Wolves Esports might not be running across towards Humbert Labs with 3 players, but maybe with 2 or less. We're checking the hands of No Name here. R9 in the back pocket.
Interestingly, Humbert Labs is the 2nd best POI this tournament on this map for gaining points.
Hostile right here.
There has been 1 victory so far throughout this tournament from Humbert Labs as well. It is very busy already, as expected. As you can also see, Panic has just got a knock onto Kinotrope's Gaming's player.
The Rolls goes down. I want to kind of highlight, just looking at the map overhead at the moment, I think there's still some teams who are probably thinking, are we going to see that weird pullback that sometimes we have seen from Humbert Labs, where it goes to the other side, like the main fence line that kind of divides it off from the rest of the map? Looking at where ring consoles are that you could play for late, Shipyard Arcade, right down on that southern side. Stadium, just outside of where that zone is as well, are accessible. And then that kind of middle of nowhere one that we just saw 3 teams converting on. Speaking of converting, Kinotrope, TSM all in a fight at the moment. And I think there's another team in the vicinity as TSM will dispatch up Kinotrope and send them back to the lobby. Panic, though, has gone down.
Sensors focusing on that spot.
Gonna be Rock. They're gonna be above them here, but suddenly all of the commotion just ceases to exist, and Rock don't really want to commit to anything, because again, you don't need to be third party in kills unnecessarily, as we will get a pause here just to make sure everything is okay. It looks like Falcons with an issue, actually. I did see one of the players kind of halt, so
headset issue.
Perhaps just a headset issue for one of those guys. It looks like Zero just having a word with the admins, but I didn't get to discuss legend bans and who is going to be featuring the most here. Ballistic actually was picked 16 times, so he's going to be gone if we do get to match 9. Again, Ballistic often gets banned at this point because when we start to lose some of the legends that provide a little bit of oomph, his ultimate is unbelievable, and especially one thing to consider in match point finals, the bans go a little bit different because people are looking for ways to catch up. And Ballistic is certainly one of those.
More than one way.
He is excellent to help your team get that little bit of speed boost. Also, the ability to just absolutely run through teams with the Devo.
When hearing from the floor now, the issue was indeed headset of Falcon Zero due to the fullness of his hair. Turned itself into the speakers inside of the... it's all made up.
It's not an issue you've had recently.
No, it isn't.
All right, that was mean. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine because I choose to shave my head to avoid those kind of issues when I'm entering the competitive gaming sphere.
Ah.
Speaking of spheres, yep, my head's round.
Yeah, that was just revenge for the Stonehenge comment yesterday, by the way.
It's fair, he deserved it.
We're even now, but this is going to be quite a nerve-wracking time. I mean, pauses always can be a little bit frustrating for players, but at the same time, they're always welcoming of them, because if they were in that situation where they needed help, they would prefer a pause happen as well. But when you are this deep into the series, and there are 6 teams on match point, is it a chance to kind of have a little chat with each other and think about really what are you going to do to try and push yourself maybe closer to match point yourself?
I mean, I keep thinking about what happened in that previous game because it was just such a crazy situation for NIP to find themselves in. They're probably looking at that like, we've got this one. Like, they have so many good angles. They're holding down so many, you know, great positions that they can fire down onto Wolves Esports. They forced one player down into the ravine as well. But then as we take a look back now at that endgame and how it developed, we mentioned Ziki from Gen G. It is just insane to think the impact that one player can have. Like we mentioned, not just the Kraber shot, but somehow taking 2 of NIP to the grave with him. That is just brilliant from Ziki. Kind of, he has no choice. But you've got to look at NIP and think, did we just lose track of how many players were alive from Gen G?
This was one of the biggest moments of the game when originally it was S8UL who got involved with Rock wanting to take this position off of them. But then Wolves capitalized. They saw what was going down, they seized the moment, and they decided, look, actually, this is a position that could really benefit us. In the end, it went on to be a winning position that they could play from, and they also had the composition to do it. I mean, it was eventually a 1v1 they found themselves in, but they stabilized, they had the caustic as well to hold. It was really an incredible match 7. One of my favorite games so far this tournament to watch.
Yeah, this was NIP and Kurev in particular, extending onto Falcons to make sure that they were in a position that was so awkward to deal with. That's the play. That right there, a no-scope with the Kraber from a solo, an R9 spray to follow it up. And Wolves Esports say thank you, Gen G, not just for making this winnable, but for giving us a chance now to win the whole thing and hit match point. It's just crazy how one maybe little piece of miscommunication, not being aware of one player, can completely change the fact that that trophy isn't lifted right now.
And one thing I will say is that during match point finals, of course, trying to track which teams are alive is very much a skill. There's some teams have players who can just tell you who is still alive. They will know, okay, NIP are still alive, they are one of these teams. But with legend bans now being a thing, it's difficult to know who is who, because you're not going to know who's picked what characters. It was way different back when, remember when Reject Winity won the tournament, for example? They were a Watson team, everyone knew they were a Watson team, and still somehow no one targeted them. Different now, we have legend bans.
The match is about to resume in 5 seconds time, so it's time for us to stop talking about the past and start focusing on the future as we jump back in and we take a look at Rock once more.
Yeah, Rock have a little bit of high ground to work with, but of course, this is not going to be where they end up. They still have to move a little bit further east, well, actually quite a lot east. It's still TSM they are trying to find, and they found the first. Gen goes down.
Yeah, I think the rest of TSM have actually managed to get out of that situation. He'll be able to scarper away and look to get Gen back in. Gen basically does his job, making Rock spend a lot of time and expiring that time away from them chasing down and potentially stopping the revive coming in. So TSM survived. They're not out of it yet. Rock do get credit with the extra point, but match point is all they're considering right now. The extra points, of course, very important when it comes to the final standings.
Especially when you look at the fact that Rock got to match point first so early as well on match 4.
Oh boy.
Are they going to be another one of these cursed teams that hits match point first but never gets the chance to actually win?
Heart in the mouth moment, always, when I see Falcons hitting a evac tower, even when there's absolutely no one near them, as they will be approaching Street Market now, you would imagine playing for Survey Beacon and Ring Console.
Memories of the past, of Falcons taking an angle through the sky.
Either really good or really bad. There was no in between.
It was so strange. There was just a period of time where Hal's team would just either fail in the sky or finally find themselves in the center zone. It was so bizarre. Now, Street Market is their target, but they are not the only team heading to Street Market. S8UL are also going there, so potential conflict could happen if neither team spots the other.
Other thieves inside a zone. This is where they're going to be playing. On match point. And I gotta say, I'm gonna avoid the phony highlight because we keep doing, but even without that, the trials and tribulations this team have been through in recent times, I think a lot of people may have lost faith in the fact that this 100-team roster could go and win a tournament. They obviously have the talent, but just felt like something was missing. Maybe what they've been through over the last 48 hours has galvanized them as a team and put their focus in what they want to achieve, which is winning tournaments.
Of course, VKG getting priority to this zone, dropping down at Humbert Labs, and remember, they are on match point. Just to go back to 100 Thieves, 3 LAN champions, of course. And I know the phony storyline of, you know, he went through the hospital, went through the surgery, but think back to actually what happened all before that. He won a LAN, and then suddenly gets dropped from his team, has to try and find a new one, has now ended up on another tournament-winning team, in my opinion. But can they convert it? Can they do it? And answer any skeptics, any haters that might be out there.
The #1 team in the lobby, 78 points.
There's an enemy over there.
Would have just had to learn a lot about themselves. And there's one man who knows how to win tournaments and has sat behind teams who have won tournaments. Man on the bottom right-hand side of your screen right there, Raven. And he would have had a big job to do just to refocus the team after what we've just seen happen in that previous game.
Yeah, I think that his heart would have been in his mouth thinking that this was going to be the moment. I don't think any of them, though, would have even considered the solo was going to be above them to crave a shot. It's just one of those things that they have to move past and say, there was nothing else we could have done in that moment. It's just a freak accident, essentially. We're now moving to the best map that we have in this entire rotation. Let's convert it next time.
Yeah, much different rotation for them, though. Last time we were talking about the race to the center zone. This time we're talking about a long trek, a marathon to try and get anywhere near where this zone is going to be. It's a very different style of play here. 4 ninjas in pajamas to get their way towards zone. And the same could be said about the team on our screen right now. Team Falcons now down at Shipyard Arcade, all the way down on the southern side of the map. Get Survey Beacon. They're going to be up to purples. They're going to have all the attachments you could ask for in the weaponry as well. If Falcons want to win it, they're going to have to fight literally and figuratively to get to this zone and call themselves champions.
There's going to be some huge fights as this zone ends because not only Falcons are moving from that side, but Ninjas in Pajamas are also moving from the east. Rocker on the south, and a lot of our match point teams have to make it into this zone now. And I think actually NIP are fighting Virtus Pro right about now. Yeah, actually, Fane's just gone down.
Yeah, Luz just picked up a kill, got the finish. McLovin's going to tie things up. You can see that a lifeline is in the lobby as well. Luz sending a couple of Skynades up. McLovin goes down. Lou is going a little bit crazy here, and Kurev maybe watching his dreams slip through his fingers, and his teammates has to escape, but at least he's on the path.
Is going to be able to survive here. Med situation, at least has a
he's out here. He's good enough to get out here.
Yeah, he's going to be okay, but it's about where you go. I'm looking for a crafter, and actually you've got to go all the way up to Heights or Energy Bank to craft at the moment, but remember, crafters do arrive onto the map, so you could play one. I guess there is a crafter somewhat close to draft point, but that's equally as far. It's going to be a journey for NIP, that's for sure.
Broken bones.
Akis and Alliance just managed to find themselves a care package as well. Some of the notes about the position that Alliance are playing, by the way, they are one of the only teams playing the western side of that wall we were talking about earlier. DSM find themselves with Gent get knocked in defeat as we look at Falcons now trying to bully the way in towards zone. S8UL are in front of them. Alliance moving down to look at this as well. This is a tough spot, but they are going to be safe in zone.
Falcons do know of Alliance though, so they're not going to be caught off guard here, but they are caught between two teams. A decision has to be made. Do you try and push aggressively towards one of these squads?
Well, Rock Esports are overextended now, and S8UL actually find themselves in a little bit of a pinch, so Falcons have been helped out of this situation by the overextension from zone. by Rock, and Rock need to make this play as well, because if Rock don't command this southern space, their position in zone is under threat.
Care package has been looted by Madness, so some toys for them to play with.
They want to take this fight here. They've just popped the Tempest. But Falcons aren't going to be able to close the gap in time to really make it effective here.
SAUL have to kind of back off into the zone, though. Falcons maybe have done enough just to scare them away. Perhaps they heard that ultimate being popped and they say, we want nothing to do with that right now. All the meanwhile, the zone is going to continue to shift south, closer to VK Gaming and closer to Rock Esports, and of course, close to Falcons.
Rock are in an amazing spot, by the way, for this endgame. And Kurev has done what he needed to do. Now he's going to hit the evac tower, but TSM are waiting on the edge of zone. They know that Ninjas in Pajamas have just been respawned. And Kurev now is going to have to hit the grapple to join his teammates. But just to their right through this choke, TSM are waiting like sharks in the water.
TSM, though, are very aware that the zone's going to be closing as well, so they also need to be thinking about the bigger picture here. It's about reaching match point themselves, and a few kills is not going to be enough. They need placement. They need 13 points if they're going to cross that match point threshold, as now the zone does begin to close behind NIP here.
Falcons are inside the zone on that southern side as well. But two of our match point teams isolated on the south side of the zone where nobody else really is. SAUL are kind of hovering, but Gen G are about to arrive. Gen G might cause some problems here. They've just landed between Alliance and Falcons on the southern side. 100 Thieves inside the zone. They're going to be safe.
And round three's closing here. It's still 19 teams alive, may I add, but Imperial Howl has just gone down to Sorcerer. Falcons now as a duo. Is there a chance for them to get a mobile res? Perhaps, but that is going to be a match point team on match point team action.
I mentioned how Rocket just commanding the space. They are demanding the space. Taking out Imperial Howl could be massive for their chances of being crowd champions here. Falcons are eliminated. Rock send it on to them. Falcons will not win here in this game. One match point team is gone.
They're going to have to hope that they'll get another chance going into match 9. As I'm sure a lot of disappointed Falcons fans in the audience here at the Gidea Arena. Maybe some jubilant Alliance fans, though. Can Alliance be the team to keep us going to match 9? As just a Wolves esports player has gone down as well. As we continue to follow the journey of NIP, because it has been a treacherous one. Back up to a full 3. And now they have to transition south, which they will be greeted by Alliance, but we check in again with these teams within zone already.
Let's go over there.
Wolves now creeping their way forward, but the zone is going to force about 7, 8, almost 10 teams to have to move, even with 18 squads alive here. Very few are safe. TSM been eliminated. They will be next to fall in this lobby. Vayne taking damage from so many different angles.
This is how Team Falcons were taken out of the game as well. It was ROC who finally got aggressive on them when they saw there was weakness. They took full advantage, wiping them out of this lobby. Now Alliance do get a knock onto McLovin here.
Affection, be careful though, down to 1 HP. Pops that battery, gets the bank smoke down as well. Sentinels next to go, but they are not on match point.
Alliance have found themselves into zone though, and as you mentioned, there are still a lot of teams who have to move south and get into the zone themselves. There's going to be a lot of forced fights and forced engagements here, but you have to stay on top of things.
A lot of these teams who are forced to engage aren't on match point. The match point teams are in positions where they are closer to zone. We are getting to a point here at the end of this zone where we will know what our chances are of more Apex Legends here in the mid-season playoffs, or what the chances are of finding a champion.
One of the teams in the best position right now is Rock Esports after taking down Falcons. How big could that fight have been? Zone closing in. NIP have to press up. Alliance watching over them.
Rival Esports have been eliminated as well. NIP trapped in a corner. Furia eliminated as well, but again, not on match point. Unlucky's down.
And finished, may I add. Jen Burton getting the final bullets with the scout in the end, and that could save NIP because they were in a pretty awful position compared to Alliance, because Alliance would have just been able to bombard them from above, but there is a mobile res there for Alliance. Do NIP see this?
Well, the Thermite is just chip it away at Vayne. Effect now is having to hold off any potential push. They have stuck the respawn. Unlucky will be dropping, and Alliance will be strong once more.
Pony is currently zipping back and forth on the Pathfinder right now, but NIP, they lose Kura.
It's Wolves! It's Wolves who are pushing them! It's Wolves from a distance who are doing this damage! From inside of that tunnel, McLovin jumps up. He'll go down. Ninjas in pajamas might be ready to go to bed.
Effective, desperate to try and push this team, desperate to try and
Still
finish them
alive!
off. But somehow, some way, NIP are surviving because Alliance wanted to get the revive first, but now Unlucky's coming back.
Do not show. Hackis! Finally! Tox in Ninjas in pajamas, and Wolves have gone as well. 2 match point teams gone.
That leaves us with Rock, VKG, and 100 Thieves on match point. 3 teams still with a chance to win it here, but still plenty of teams not on match point. One of them being Alliance, of course. E36 in the kill feed against Nemesis. VP going down. VP eliminated. Now we're down to 10 squads.
Sorcerer kill leader in the lobby at the moment, and Rock will have to move towards his zone in a few moments' time. But before they go and think about what could be a tournament-winning, a career-defining rotation, they have to deal with the traffic in front of them, damage as many teams as they can, as VK Gaming are struggling. Another match point team as QQ hits the queue just to give himself a chance.
Worth noting, we have seen another
zone. He set the zone.
100 Thieves might be struggling here.
100 Thieves could be gone. Alliance are out. Phony gone. 100 Thieves are gone. The only teams alive who could still win this, VKG as a solo, and Rock, who have commanded this zone for so long. But Rock are down to 1. Fax escaped. It's the 2 solos at match point against each other. You couldn't write this.
The Wraith Q saves QQ for now, but Vaxlon with the chance to try and win the tournament himself. I don't think there's any way you're going to get the team back. So instead we look about who is going to cross match point maybe here in match 8.
Genji on match point. Asia trying to find some ammo, trying to find a shield swap. Will do exactly that, sprays and prays. But Legacy is not letting him feel comfortable at all here. Asia comes back with a spray of his own. Just go down. Legacy weak. Has to pick up a reload here. Looks for another armor swap to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes.
So Genji crossed the match point threshold, as did Nemesis before they died, may I add. A couple more teams put in the mix for match 9, excuse me, if we get there. And I say if, because we still have 2 match point teams alive, albeit as solos. Vaxlon on the Pathfinder, VKG with a Wraith.
QQ on the Wraith. Can you believe we watched the 2 solos, the only players on match point, stare each other in the eyes? And both of them survive. Vaxlon, though, is taking damage. The world champs on our screens. S8 will be out next, down to 4. 2 teams, 2 solos, still on match point.
And Genji and Na'Vi are currently looking at each other, shooting at each other, but they have spotted Vaxlon. They have not spotted QQ, though. If they take this 3v3, there is still a chance. As Hyaka goes down, there is still a chance one of these 2 teams could win it.
Genji trying to dispatch of Na'Vi. Slab is the last alive, playing behind the knockdown. Even as solos, with all 3 Genji players still on their feet, you have to think that Genji are going to keep this one going. Vaxlon's still alive. 2 solos, both on match point. Genji control the fate of the ALGS mid-season playoffs.
It's a Kraber as well for QQ. A big shot could change everything, but that was his last bullet, I believe, as now they push in onto QQ.
But he jumps into the void. Vaxlon, by the way, still alive, but now Genji bring that game to a close, and epic. But when all said and done, Genji hit match point, and we keep on going here in the mid-season playoffs.
If you wanted more matches of Apex Legends, you have got them. All thanks to Genji. They find themselves on match point now. They find themselves with the chance to win this thing going into match 9, but they were not the only ones who got there. We welcome Nemesis as well to the fray, and suddenly, maybe your chance of winning this tournament may have just slipped through your fingers as more teams are added to the mix.
ROC with the chance, but again, not converted. Vaxelon did everything he could to survive long enough to have his say in that endgame. QQ had the Kraber, had the chance, but could not hit the biggest shots of his life.
Could have changed everything. If he had hit one shot, that could have changed everything, because then potentially there's a 1v1 on both sides for the 2 match point eligible teams. Wow, what an ending. And you can see that maybe VK Gaming feeling like they had a real opportunity there in that game, which they did. Their zone pulled to them. That could be the best chance they get. And remember, it was on E-District, their best map. But also worth noting, we go back to E-District again for match 9.
So a quick shot on Nemesis as well. They will join the rest of the match point teams with a chance to win it. They hit match point in match number 8. Ballistic, gone for now. Will be the next legend to be banned. Genji with the win. But when you've got 2 match point teams in 2nd and 3rd respectively, you can see how close it was to us calling one of those 2 teams champs.
So match 9 is upon us. Surely it would finish in 9. But I remember saying those very words back last year, EWC, when I was, surely it finish in 10, surely it finish in 11, surely it finish in 12. It just keeps going sometimes, because these lobbies are so difficult to find wins. And there are still some of the best teams in the world that have yet to find a victory here in this lobby.